History Month in February is because there was an educator by the name of Woodson who discovered that there was no Black history being taught in America. And just to piggyback a little bit off of what Brother Mitchell said, our history starts way before our time here in America. But even if you just look at it from our arrival on the shores here, there's nothing said about our contributions to this country. So what he wanted to do was change that, and at first he instituted a Black History Week. And he chose a week in February because it was coincided with Frederick Douglass's birthday as well as Abraham Lincoln's birthday. And then in 1976, President Ford had stretched it out from a week to a month and made it a national thing where every year we celebrated that month. But I think we need to change the mindset that it's not just Black History Month. This is the only month we think about Black contributions in Black history. Black history is every day of every year. We're doing something. We just got a new, well, she needs to be confirmed, but a nomination for a Black female Supreme Court justice. That's history. It just happened to happen in February, but anytime something historic happens with us, anytime we contribute to this country, anytime we invent something, anytime we're pushing boundaries and we're showing that we can do just as well given equal opportunity, that's history. And that needs to be celebrated every day of the year. So, Black solidarity. Some of you, the grades kind of tell on me. I have a few years, and I remember when we used to have Black Solidarity Day, November 2nd. And that was a day for us to be mindful to stick together. The Bible has a verse that says, love not the oppressor and choose none of his ways. Unfortunately, we have loved the oppressor and we've chosen all his ways. And his ways is divide and conquer. So he takes the natural differences between us, and we're gonna have differences. We're not the same people. We may have different points of view, but that doesn't mean that we can't be united and together. But he exploits the differences in order to exploit us. Because like the brother said, once we stick together, there is no force on earth that can stop us. There's no force on earth. All the great philosophers sat at the feet of the African scholars. If you read Greek mythology, you see where they went to the oracles or the soothsayers. Those were Africans that they went to. And this is a lot of things that we don't know as people, that the legacy was stolen. That Greece didn't start architecture because where did the pyramids come from? Where did all of that architecture came? They still can't figure out how they did that. They don't know about Imhotep. The knowledge is hidden in books, and we need to read. We need to explore, we need to travel, but if you can't travel by plane, bus, car, you can read and travel with your mind and find these things out that are hidden, not just on Black Solidarity Day, and not just in February, but all throughout the years. When I came up, it wasn't until college that they had any kind of Black Studies classes. But I was fortunate enough that they had these comic books called the Golden Legacy comic books. And I was able to read and find out about Benjamin Banneker, find out about Sojourner Truth, find out about Lewis Latimer, find out about Granville T. Woods. These are people that, by and large, most of our people now don't even know who they are. They don't know that Lewis Latimer worked with Alexander Graham Bell and Thomas Alva Edison. And since Edison stole a lot of patents, it's highly probable that Lewis Latimer was the one that came up with the light bulb that's here now. You know, they don't know that Garrett Morgan, this traffic light that you had to stop at to get here, he created that. A lot of them don't know that because it's hidden in books, and we're busy calling each other by the oppressor's name for us. And so that name dehumanizes us. Once upon a time, you were my brother, you my sister. Now you my So I don't have to care for you like a family member because you my family's gonna fight, family's gonna have disagreements, but at the end of the day, we family. You're my brother, you're my sister. So when you my anytime you get on my nerves, I don't even have to hold my fist. I can just pull out a weapon because you're less than nothing. That's what they do in warfare. The Vietnamese weren't Vietnamese, they were gooks. Because once you take the human away from them, it's easier to kill them. So we have to open our minds and be united in loving one another, loving ourselves and loving one another. I believe in leading by example. One thing that I like to do, and I notice, and especially now with technology, it's a little harder, is just greet the people you meet. You know, when you're walking down the street, you see somebody, make eye contact, how you doing? Just keep on going, but have a nice day. To kind of bring that whole tension down. If you notice, people are angry. People are angry, so if they're not just completely absorbed in their phone or in whatever digital device they have, they're just angry. They drive angry, and you can bring some of that down just with little touches, a kind word, a hey, have a nice day, and keep it moving. You know, show I'm a father, and the way I raise my kids and the way I deal with my kids is an example. So other people can see that. I remember growing up in the projects. Lafayette Garden, shout out to Brooklyn, Lafayette Garden. Growing up in the projects, and people saw me and my mother, my family. We went to church, we went to work, we went to school. I played basketball, I was good back then. So they knew me from that. They knew me, either they knew me from the basketball court, or they knew me going to school, going to church. They saw that. And I remember I was blessed to actually have this young man come back to us, because usually you don't see the impact you make. And he said, I want to thank you because I followed your pattern. I seen what you did. You didn't hang out, you didn't get into any trouble. All you did was, if it wasn't about business, if it wasn't about you going to work or church, you was playing basketball, and then when stuff started jumping off, you was in the house. And he said, that's how I wanted to live my life. So you don't know the impact you're making on other folks just by living your life in a positive manner and being willing to discuss and talk with them whenever the opportunity arises. So that's what I'm doing. I know coming up, the church was the backbone of the black community. And when you look at, and I came up like 70s, 80s, and when you look at the oppression that was going on then, not that it's changed now, it's just changed the face of it. It was a little more covert, a little more under the cover until Trump came into office, and now it's a little more overt again, a little more in your face again. But one thing that we were able to do is we were able to come together and rely on knowing that there's a higher power than us. So it starts out with that. You have to know that. If you think that we're the real end, it's not going to happen. Another thing that we can do, and this is where the solidarity is so important, is you hear people talk about a support system. We have to support one another. You know, kill the jealousy. If my man is doing well, I applaud that. His victory is my victory, is our victories, all our victories. There's an African proverb that says, I am we. So it's not about me, I am we, I'm all of us. When you succeed, I succeed. There's another African proverb that says, if you can't be first, make the person that beats you break the record. So we have to work to be excellent in what we do. I remember coming up again, my mother used to tell me, if passing is 70, you gotta make a 90 because you're a black man, so you already got 2 strikes against you. A black woman, you also have strikes against you. So we can't expect to be given the same opportunities. As a matter of fact, we have to work harder just to get to the level playing field. But the good thing about that is it makes us stronger, because then once we make it, we belong there. If Obama had the intellect of a Trump or a G.W. Bush, he would never made president. And he made president because he was that much greater. Every pioneer, everyone that breaks through because they tried hard, they burnt the midnight oil, they made sure that they put their all into it, and they had a support system. They had people around them that was like, you can do it, you can make it. the Underground Railroad. Our people didn't come up from slavery to freedom by themselves. The majority of them had help. We have to help one another. And that's how we can stay strong mentally as well as physically, politically, in all other areas. One of the young men that inspires me was my barber, Mark Johnson. He started cutting hair when he was like 18, 19 years old. And like the typical trials, he didn't have anybody go to him right away because he was a new barber. So you had to give him a chance, and I gave him a shot, and he was good. But the relationship evolved over the years. He went through his baby mama drama, I went through my baby mama drama, and we held each other's head up, talked about support system earlier, and helping the mental health because I was ready to do things that were not the way I was raised. So he always was on his grind. You know, he worked at the barber shop, then he got a job at the Long Island Railroad, and he was doing both of those things. And when he had his kids, he was a father. He was a real father to his kids. Took care of his kids, fought for his kids, but also in the barber shop. He wasn't just cutting hair and that's it. He was, because we were in the ghetto, we were in Bed-Stuy, and he was trying to enlighten some of the other young bucks that was coming in the barber shop about certain things. In his own way, you know, hood way, but that's what he was doing. And he was one of those people that could shift gears. He could be hood, and then he could shift gears and he could speak on a college level. So I'm glad that he's doing the doggone thing myself. You know, he has had his measures of success. His son's also following his footsteps, having his measure of success. But outside of my mama, that's pretty much the one person I could say that from humble beginnings